Of course, just to explain to people, Tony, this is true blue in terms of Tory support, and therefore all these questions that the other political parties are trying to work out, what does this mean for them? Will it mean extra Labour seats? Will there be perhaps a Tory resurgence?
Well, I think that's kind of a big question for the people at Dumfries. Certainly the people that I spoke to today, you know, there was quite a mix of reactions. A lot of people didn't like to see anybody making a resignation, especially not on the back of what wasn't particularly one huge issue, but certainly a grinding down of Nicola Sturgeon. But yeah, a lot of people that I've spoke to this morning were, you know, quite happy to turn the page. With such a dominant force as Nicola Sturgeon leading the Parliament, you know, a lot of the views here for the people in Dumfries and Galloway might not quite have felt that they were getting heard. One of the people that I spoke to today was very much quite happy about her hardline stance on Brexit, shifting away with her, but of course, you know, SNP as a party not particularly in favour of Brexit anyway. A few more people, as I said, were quite sad to see her go. She was an iconic figure, not only in Scottish politics, but here in Dumfries and Galloway. An interesting little nugget of information is that the MP here is David Mundell, former Scottish Secretary down in Westminster, and his son, Oliver Mundell, is the MSP representing this area. So since about 2005, Conservatives have pretty much been able to represent this area of Scotland, and I think they are more than happy to see what comes next for Scotland. And
yeah, I was going to ask you, what about this issue of independence, therefore, and whether this is now really going to be the burning issue for people, or whether they've decided, you know, we've gone through all the arguments, the vote's been had, let's move on.
Yeah, I think certainly the pro-independence campaign, not just people today, but yesterday, the sentiment was, one gentleman told me outside Butte House that was it, it was dead, the mandate dies with Nicola Sturgeon leaves office. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know particularly whether SNP can continue on with the strength. There is still strong support for independence in Scotland, not as strong as the opposition to it, but you know, in her entire time in office, those numbers, 45% against 55% in favour of remaining part of the UK, haven't really shifted all that much, apart from the odd poll here and there. Certainly I think that the people in Dumfries voted against independence then. I certainly think down here, with the exception of Moray, where it was exceptionally close, you know, there was a good turnout here for Remain in terms of Leave in terms of Brexit. And I think that, you know, the political divide, certainly, I don't think it even has anything to do with how close this area is to England. But certainly in terms of Scotland, some quite different views that you won't see represented in places like the Central Belt.
All views being brought here on GB News, of course. Tony, thank you very much for updating us in Dumfries. Just to remind you, the latest monthly average figures of political support in Scotland: SNP at 43%, Labour on 30%, Conservatives 16%, Lib Dems on 6%. And, of course, we'll continue to monitor the position with that meeting tonight, and then see where we go with the whole issue of the United Kingdom or not.